the Rangers Journal now.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's series of the Rangers Journal. Tonight, I'm joined by John from the 12-Man podcast, and tonight, myself and John are going to give you a quick overview of a potential Rangers manager candidate. John is here to give us his insight into who that candidate may be, and we're hopefully just going to get some details on his style of play, his leadership, and just everything else we probably need to know about him. So, first and foremost, John, welcome to the Rangers Journal. How are you doing, mate?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you, and thanks for inviting me on.
Oh, it's a pleasure to have you, John. It really is. John, the reason why we're here, I genuinely can't believe we're here only 3 months after Rangers appointed Russell Martin, but obviously you'll probably see in the press and what's been going on, he's not had the greatest of starts, and it's basically any day now, I think the Rangers hierarchy are going to make the decision to relieve him of his duties if results don't get any better than what they are. We've had a bit of a nightmare start under Russell Martin. One of the reasons we do this, we try and look at potential candidates who may be coming in, and one of the candidates we've got at the moment is former Middlesbrough manager Michael Carrick, who you'll know very well. Michael is currently 8-1 at the betting shops to be the next Rangers manager. Whether that's the case or not is obviously another question, but we thought we would just try and do a little bit of an insight into Michael and what he could potentially bring to Rangers. Obviously, he was with Middlesbrough for a few seasons there. Before that, he started off at Manchester United as a caretaker. I think he'd done 3 games with Manchester United, 1-2, drew 1, and he ended up with a 46% win record at Middlesbrough. Just, John, if you don't mind, if you could just start off, Michael Carrick, are you surprised that he's a name that's been linked with the next Rangers manager position?
No, obviously, I've seen the candidates, a few of them that have been sort of mentioned, and Michael Carrick has experience. He had almost 3 seasons at Middlesbrough, so he's got some sort of managerial experience. But as a player, he's got vast experience in Europe of the big match atmosphere. Obviously, international player as well. So he's got the pedigree. So yeah, I'm not surprised to see him as one of the sort of bookmakers' leading candidates.
John, a lot of people, Rangers fans here, will say that Michael Carrick is similar to Russell Martin in a way. If we just quickly look at it, so Michael Carrick took charge of Middlesbrough, I think it was October 2022, I think it was when he took charge of them, guided them to playoff position his first full season. The 2 seasons following that, he failed to secure a playoff spot in 2023-24 and the 24-25 season. I think he finished 10th in 24-25. And then obviously led to his dismissal in June of 25. Was it a surprise that Michael Carrick was dismissed by the Middlesbrough board?
No, not really, no, because the season where we finished 10th was below everybody's expectations and standards, and particularly the second half of that season, it was difficult to watch. We were slow. We were sluggish. We had no tempo, no pace, and we were outbullied and outbattled by what I would call lesser teams, teams with less quality players, but who wanted it more. And you know, we were crying out for him or his backroom team at the time to sort of just give the players on the pitch a kick up the backside, but nothing seemed to happen. Nothing changed. I mean, one of the worst transfer windows that we had was last January just gone, and Michael Carrick decided that he wanted a couple of particular players, and he pushed to get those 2 players into the club, which the club have their own way of doing things with regards transfers. But on this occasion, they let the manager have the choice. And the two players that he brought in, Iheanacho and Ryan Giles, those two were his choice. They failed miserably. And it was a case of, we replaced Latte Lath, an energetic, bustling, goal-scoring centre forward, with Iheanacho at Carrick's choice, and he just failed to impress. And our second half of last season, it just disintegrated and fell to pieces. So really, it wasn't a surprise when the club, they had what they called a club review, and it seemed to take a long time. But at the end of it, Michael Carrick lost his job. So it wasn't a surprise. It took a while in coming. When after the season ended, it wasn't instant. It took a while in coming. But no, I don't think anybody in Middlesbrough or Teesside was particularly shocked by that.
Absolutely. One of the things, John, at the moment, Rangers fans are not happy with in terms of Russell Martin is the style of play that we've got. We heard from Martin beforehand around how he was always going to be aggressive on the front foot. His players are going to run harder than anyone else. When you look at Michael Carrick and you look at what he's done, I had a quick look before we came on, and I think he used to play a 4-2-3-1, and then there was another tenor formation where he used to play a 3-2-5, an attack formation. Could you give the Rangers fans, viewers watching tonight, a little bit of an overview on the tactical and strategic vision you think that Michael Carrick would bring to Rangers if he was to be the next manager?
Yeah, well, at Middlesbrough, he tried a few formations. He always liked to play out from the back, and on a lot of occasions that got us into trouble when a team sort of was quick on the press. So when our back line played into the midfield, had the back to the goal that we were attacking, and they were facing our goal. As they were turning, they lost possession on a regular basis, and it always led to us to concede far too many goals. There were occasions when the crowd just wanted us, sometimes under pressure, just to go along to relieve that pressure. We seem to be getting the ball taken off us all the time, and he was very pragmatic, and he was very orthodox in the way he wanted to play. He would keep possession, and at times you thought, well, we've had possession now for 10, 15 passes, but we'd made no progress, and it was frustrating. We wanted to see a little bit more progressive play, move the play up the pitch a little bit quicker. If that meant on occasions go direct, then so be it. But we were not quick to attack, and when we did get the ball in the final third, because we were so slow, we found ourselves with virtually the whole of the opposition behind the ball, so it was difficult to get through. It was a very frustrating watch at times. I mean, his first season was brilliant. His first season, he came in and I think he won 16 out of 21 of his first games, something like that. And we looked the business. We looked great because we brought some good loan players in, and we had a player at the club called Chuba Akpom who was there when Michael Carrick arrived. He was already there, but Michael Carrick seemed to get the best out of him, and he turned in a season of 29 goals in one season, which is a phenomenal record. And that first season showed so much promise, but it was totally alien to last season. We were so dogged. We were so slow and cumbersome, predictable, far too predictable at times. Now, I'm hoping that the break away from football, from a managerial capacity, has maybe made him reflect on things that he didn't do so well. I think one of the biggest criticisms at Middlesbrough was that he didn't have a strong enough or an experienced enough backroom team. We lost a guy called Aaron Danks, who was very talented, vastly experienced. He went to Bayern Munich with Victor Kompany, and Carrick replaced him with his brother, an under-21 coach from Newcastle United, and that it just. I'm not saying it didn't work, but we changed from there. You know, we didn't have the same the same mindset of how to change games, how to sort of like kill games if we were leading, or change games to get back into it. I mean, we lost something like 25 points from a winning position last season. That's just not good enough. Our home record was very, very poor. Just not acceptable, and all those factors they contributed to a poor season where we finished 10th. Frustration among the fans, and ultimately it cost him his job. Absolutely,
and that's one of the things I think, John, that the Rangers fans at the moment with Russell Martin, he's continued to play the same style from day one till now, and we're 5 games into the season. We're 4 draws and 1 loss in the league, and you obviously have seen on the news what's been happening in Europe and things like that. In terms of the style, the management and leadership style for Michael Carrick, because I think this is a big thing for Rangers fans at the moment. Russell Martin has been named as a head coach, and we've always been used to having a manager type, and we spoke about it on one of our podcasts last night. We spoke about having a figurehead at a club and having someone that was someone that the fans can look up to and really take on board. In terms of Michael Carrick, what would you say that his leadership approach is like? And was he one to be able to inspire and motivate players and staff around him and get the fans behind, or was he someone that took a back seat from that, do you think?
That's a good question, because, like I said, his record in his first season compared to the record in his final season, just chalk and cheese. He was always very, very calm. I mean, I mentioned earlier we won something like 16 out of 21 games when he first arrived, and during that time he remained calm. He didn't build up expectations. He just, he said we've just got to take every game as it comes. He remained calm. He was very level-headed. Similarly, if we went on a run where we were conceding a lot of goals and getting like draws when we should have been winning, like losing the lead and getting draws, he never once sort of like turned on the players or turned on the fans. His demeanor was very calm, whether we were doing well or whether we were struggling. Now that's fine. You can look at that and say, well, that's a manager trying to keep the players focused and not get carried away or not be too down and try and build them up. But in the end, it became a bit dull. Yeah, his press conferences and his aftermatch reviews. They didn't tell you a great deal. They didn't offer. They didn't offer you much. I like the manager. I did like him. However, it's a results-based game, isn't it? And that's what matters. And so we missed out on the playoffs in his second season, and last season was pretty much disastrous, really. And as a result, the club decided to have a change. But I like the guy, because he's affable. He's nice enough. But you don't. For me, I don't have to like my manager. I just want him to get the results. I want him to. I mean, he's not my mate. I'm not going out drinking with him, so I don't have to like him. I couldn't be bothered unless the team are doing well, improving, showing signs of, even in defeat, showing signs of potential. But last season we just lost it. It was a difficult one.
Yeah, and I think, Jordan, that's one of the things just now. Russell Martin is not willing to adjust how he does things at the moment, and he's played the same strategy pretty much every game. He keeps talking the good talk, but not showing any results on the back of it. In terms of Michael Carrick, you'd mentioned it earlier on, he plays from the back. He's got a very similar style to Russell Martin in terms of how he plays. Did you at any point in time see any willingness from Michael Carrick to adjust the strategy and maybe respond to the fan and media feedback that was coming through at that point in time, or was he very rigid and sticking to his way of playing things?
Yeah. He was very rigid and stubborn, and he believed that he could get away with that. Well, you can if the quality of player is better than what we had at Middlesbrough. Top teams can do that because they can one touch the ball all the time, and but the standard that Middlesbrough at, we needed a little bit more time, and unfortunately, opposition managers soon got to grip with that, and they were on top of us. And like you say, the number of times that we lost possession of the ball just outside of the 18-yard box, which led to goals or near goals. I lost count. It was so frustrating, But he seemed to stick to that, Even if he just occasionally went long, just to show the opposition manager, you haven't sussed us out because I can do this. I can go long when you think I won't. But that wasn't the case. He would stick to his guns all the time.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's one of the things that is probably, John, frustrating the Rangers fans at the moment as well. Russell Martin's got a very similar philosophy, and that he will stick to his guns and he won't change anything in that regard. Looking at Michael Carrick, he's been obviously big club Manchester United previously, and he played there and obviously took on the manager's role for a few games. Middlesbrough, equally massive club in England and really, really, really rich history. Rangers, obviously, everyone knows the situation with us at the moment and the history that we've got. Do you think that Michael Carrick would, if he was to be appointed Rangers manager by the 49ers, right, if they came in tomorrow and said, he's the guy we're going to go for, and the reason why we're talking about it is because he very much fits into that mould, we think, in terms of how the 49ers look at it. Do you think he would be able to understand the size of the club, the traditions of the club, because Rangers are very traditional in how we do things? Do you think he would take time to adapt to that, or is that somewhere you think he could maybe hit the ground running because of he's been at the big clubs previously, like Manchester United and Middlesbrough?
Yeah, I think he would know the task in hand, because obviously Rangers, world famous club, and he's been at Man United, again another world famous club. Middlesbrough, fairly big club in the Championship. The big thing is he would need somebody by his side with experience of the Scottish leagues, and I would suggest with an ex-Rangers connection, just to if he didn't know the enormity of the task ahead, then somebody by his side of him would be able to assist him in that. I mean, he got fantastic backing from Middlesbrough's chairman in the time he was here, but I don't think after Aaron Danks left for Bayern Munich, I don't think he had the coaching staff around him that offered him an insight on how to change the game as the game was in progress. And that was a big criticism of him at Middlesbrough, that his game management was poor. So if he was at Rangers, I think it would be ideal for him to have a Rangers connection by his side, one with a vast amount of experience in Scottish football.
Absolutely. And John, I don't know how much you've seen of Rangers. Obviously, I know Rangers and Middlesbrough we met pre-season. Very entertaining game during that pre-season. I've seen Middlesbrough this season a few times, and I'm really impressed with what they're doing at this moment in time. From a Scottish football perspective, when you've seen us, obviously I know it's pre-season, it was early in the days for Russell Martin and his tenure. Did it surprise you in terms of the way that Rangers played and the way Rangers set up, or is that something you would have expected from Rangers in terms of how we played on that day?
Well, on the day, the day of the pre-season game, we were Middlesbrough fans were over the moon with how we played, because up until then we'd had sort of patchy performances in our pre-season friendlies against lesser opposition than ourselves, and obviously lesser oppositions than Rangers, who were ahead of us in preparation. I think, like as you said, it was an entertaining game, and Rangers on the day looked a competent side, looked a threat, looked dangerous. So I didn't envisage that their season would pan out like this after half a dozen games.
Yeah, it's been mental, John. I think a lot of Rangers fans seen this coming. They felt that Russell Martin from day one wasn't the candidate, and when I say a lot of them, I'm probably talking 80%. Rangers fans were a bit, I wouldn't say a bit surprised, very surprised with Russell Martin, and I think that's why it's really good to do this conversation about Michael Carrick, because when I've seen Michael Carrick's name in the running for it, and similar to when Russell Martin came in, Michael Carrick, I think, dropped down to 41 at one point in time for the Rangers job when Russell Martin was coming in. So I think he's definitely someone that the Rangers 49ers have looked at. And I think he's someone that maybe fits that mould, a young manager, up and coming. I think the problem we've got at the moment, John, is the types of Russell Martin and Michael Carrick. Do you think their style and philosophy of how they play football has probably been built too much on the Barcelona Pep Guardiola way of tiki-taka? Is that the model, do you think, that these guys are trying to follow at the moment?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you've got a spot on. I mean, I think they need, if you're going to play that type of football, you've got to have players that are comfortable that can do that. And at the standard that Middlesbrough were at, we weren't, because quite quickly opposition managers thought they're always going to do the same thing, play out from the back, and the midfielder is going to need one or two touches, so be on top of him. And Carrick's pragmatism got him into trouble. He should have, or somebody at the side of him should have said, look at the number of times we're getting caught, do something different, so that we weren't as predictable. I think Pep Guardiola with his team of internationals can do that, and other clubs think it's successful for Man City. It might be successful for us, but they haven't got the players, Rodri, the players in the middle of the park, Silva, who can do this. So unfortunately, sometimes you've got to change your methodology, and I think that, like I said earlier, Carrick needs somebody with a bit of experience, even somebody with like old school techniques who will tell him, you've got to change that, do this. I didn't feel as though he had that at Middlesbrough, and that was a big letdown for him. If he goes to Rangers, he does get the job. He needs to get some experience by his side. And I'm talking about a guy who might be in his 60s, might be late 50s, 60s, with experience. And I just think those two different types of ideas might work.
Yeah, absolutely. And maybe that with that experience comes the different mentality, different formations, maybe long ball over the top. changing it up a little bit, as you said, what Michael Carrick's not been doing and what Russell Martin's not been doing at the moment. So yeah, definitely something a little bit different on that. Just finally, John, on Michael Carrick, if I can, one of the things that the Rangers fans have been a bit concerned about this season is the player recruitment from Russell Martin. And obviously Kevin Thelwell, Dan Purdy, who are behind the scenes, and Russell Martin, they know the Championship, League One, League Two market very well. And that's where they've dipped into quite significantly this season. Just in terms of Michael Carrick, what do you think his market was from a player recruitment point of view? Was that the lower ends of the Championship, lower ends of English football, or did he look at a wide varied net for his players to come into?
Yeah, I mean, at Middlesbrough, we've got like a recruitment department, and from what I understand is that the manager says he wants a certain type of player, not a particular player, but a certain type of player. The recruitment team look at all the analysis that they've got from all the scouting missions. They identify players who might fit into that criteria. They have a discussion. They watch videos. They talk about it, and they bring it in. But we've been successful in bringing players in from overseas. USA, we've a couple of players that we've brought in from USA. We've used the Premier League loan market. We have signed lower league players also, or other Championship players from other clubs. So yeah, it's quite varied. But you know, it was only when in January when Michael Carrick stuck to his guns about two particular players that he wanted, not a type of player, but two players in particular that he wanted, that the club allowed him to bring in, and both of them struggled badly. And that didn't go down well with fans because, you know, he was already onto he was already losing faith because of the results and us not being in the top six in the playoffs. So he was always on a sticky wicket with fans. And then when these two players that he insisted on didn't work, it just those noises increased on social media and everything, and within the stadium, the apprehension and the lack of excitement was evident from the first whistle, because, you know, if a team's playing well, if a team's exciting, the fans are up from the first whistle and they give them loads of encouragement. However, if they've been on a bit of a dodgy run, it's a little bit deflated, isn't it? So yeah, he didn't endear himself with those two signings that he insisted on.
Absolutely. John, just coming away from Michael Carrick for a little bit, we've got a lot of Rangers fans who follow English football, and a lot of Rangers fans will say Middlesbrough are their English team and they like to see them doing really well. Top of the table so far this season, 5 games played, 4 wins and a draw, a point ahead, I believe. 9 goals scored, 3 conceded, I think it was. Has that been a really good start for you? Is it the start you expected? And what's your overall expectations for Middlesbrough this season, Mick?
Well, certainly not the start I expected.
Well, I think we've lost you, John.
To the season. Sorry, are you still there?
Yep, still here. Still here. On you go, John.
Have you got me? Yeah.
Yeah.
You all thought that it was going to be difficult, you know, but we ended up getting 4 wins and a draw from our first 5 games. We sit top of the table, and I think everybody's been pleased with the way we've started. The reason that people were a little bit unsure of how we would start was because we done quite a bit of our transfer business very late on. I think most fans wanted it done early before the season started, but we identified our players and we'd made initial inquiries, but we didn't land them. However, we didn't give up. We kept on pursuing. We maybe changed the the payment options of the structured deal. You know, we never shifted on our price that we were going to pay for players, but we might have restructured the deal slightly, and we managed to get some good players in, good championship experience. We've got a player from America who we sent back on loan. We get him in January. We've got an international striker, David Strelach, who looks an absolute superstar. He scored a great goal against Germany the other week. Turned Rudiger inside out and then finished it in the top corner. So yeah, I think the fact that we didn't do our business early made fans a little bit apprehensive, but we finally landed them, and we got off to a good start. And now our expectations are to certainly make the playoffs, and if we can do better and go up automatically, this would be a fantastic season.
Absolutely. From what I've seen, John, and Rob Edwards, I think he's a cracking manager. I think he's get real good situation with Middlesbrough, and I think from what he's seen so far this season, I think he's got a really good chance to be getting up there automatically, if not, as you say, through the playoffs. So it's one thing I definitely hope to see. I hope to see Middlesbrough getting up this season. It would be good to have them back in the Premiership again. A team like that needs to be in the Premiership for me, John, and it's always good to have your strongest teams in there. So I do wish you all the best of luck this season. We really do.
Brilliant. One thing that we have got alongside Rob Edwards is two brilliant coaches. A young lad called Harry Watlin. He's only young, but he's got a lot of experience. He was a coach at a very young age, and he's been with England. He's been with Chelsea, West Ham, and Adi Vivish. He was the driving force behind Coventry's resurgence, and we've got him at the club. And like I said, the full package is brilliant. You've got youth, you've got experience, and you've got Rob Edwards, who's fantastic at talking to the fans and getting the best, and you know, pulling all the club together. Because when Michael Carrick left, morale was very, very low. He's pulled everybody together. So I'm hoping, like you, for a good season.
And Harry Watlin is one that was at Rangers a few seasons back. He was an assistant coach with us under Michael Beale, which was another tough time for Rangers at that point.
Yes,
but I think
true.
Harry Watlin got really, really good feedback. I think anyone who was at Rangers at the time said he was a cracking coach, and he was someone who I think a lot of people thought very, very highly of. So, no, it sounds as if he's got a great structure there, John. It really does. And I really do hope that this season's a successful one for us. I'm sure it will be, because he's got a great management team. I just wish we could have been sitting here talking about Rob Edwards potentially being the new Rangers manager, if I'm being honest. So I'd have taken him any day over Russell Martin at the moment. But no, it's been great to hear about Michael Carrick and give the Rangers fans an insight, John. Just before we let you go, because I know you're here and you're taking up some of your time tonight to come and speak to us. The 12-man podcast for yourself, John, if anyone's watching here and you want to give a wee bit of plug to your podcast, where can they find it, and when you're next on in the 12-man bit?
Right, well, yeah, 12-man podcast. It's on all the usual platforms. We're part of the TalkSport fan network. So you can find us on there, or if you go to Amazon, Spotify, I can't reel them all off. All the usual places where you find good podcasts. We're on there. We record on a Monday night. We've not done a recording for about 3 or 4 weeks since our host was involved in a serious road accident. He's still in hospital, but he's recovering. And out of respect for him, you know, we said we'd give the podcast a miss. So as soon as he's fit and well and back home, then we'll start back up. We're on YouTube as well. So yeah, I mean, wherever you normally search for your podcasts, you'll find us.
Excellent. And John, everyone at the Rangers Journal and all the Rangers fans, we send our best wishes to Stephen. We hope he's doing well, and we hope to see him back doing podcasts again soon. I know he put a wee update on one of the podcasts, I think last week or the week before or so. It was good to see him on that, and it's great to hear him. So please send him our best wishes if you can, John, and we're all thinking about him here at the Rangers Journal, so we are.
That's very kind of you. Thank you very much.
Not a problem. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in tonight. John, thank you for coming on, spending your evening with us and talking us through everything to do with Michael Carrick. I think from what we've heard tonight, it's a really good overview. Very, very similar characteristics to Russell Martin, so I'm not quite sure how the Rangers fans may take to this one if he becomes potential Rangers manager. But listen, we really want to thank you, John, for coming on and just giving us your time tonight. It's been an absolute pleasure to speak with you, John.
Lovely, thank you. I've enjoyed it.
Excellent. Ladies and gentlemen, keep an eye out for on our pages, social medias. We'll have more Manager Series content coming up as Rangers look at the situation with Russell Martin. Anything develops in that space, you'll hear about it on the Rangers Journal. Just remember, folks, every night is the Rangers Journal night. Good evening.